Hey guys, what is up and welcome to a new Tesla update video. So today, as per usual, let's go over Tesla stock, let's go over the market, let's talk about what is happening to Tesla stock, what we can expect moving forward, and all of that good stuff. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed, don't forget to hit that like button. This is not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. And of course, if you enjoy my technical analysis, thoughts on the charts, etc., well, excuse me, I do share my thoughts with our members every single day the market is open. As the market is trading, definitely check it out. That link is down below, where again, constant thoughts, posts, updates, etc. every single day as the market is open. For some reason, I can't even move my damn browser, but nonetheless, yeah, definitely check it out. That link is below for $3 a month, USD. Access to the Tesla tier, options flow, technical analysis, updates, etc. every single day the market is open. Tier 2 gives you access for $5 a month USD, Tesla plus NVDA if interested. Again, TA, options flow, etc. Or the third tier has access to the first two tiers, obviously, plus non-Tesla, non-NVIDIA updates or charts and stocks that I see potential opportunity in as well. So if you're interested, link is below. Would love to have you there. But my throat's a little bit hoarse, excuse me, I'm a little bit sick actually. But nonetheless, jumping into it, Tesla closing the day down about 2.25%, closing at $342 per share. Which obviously compared to the market is going to be a bit of an underperformance. But what does this actually mean moving forward? Well, the daily is pretty much unchanged. Nothing really to update on the daily other than the fact that it's not that we caught up to the 8 exponential moving average, but it kind of caught up to us instead, right? So you can see we're pretty much right at it right here, right now. But there's a few signs that are still good, and there's good news and there's bad news. It's just that simple. There's good news and there's bad news, right? Naturally, it's not all one side. It's not all good and it's not all bad. So we'll talk about both, right? On the daily, we can start off with what's the good news, right? What's the good news? What is there something to look forward to here, right? Well, the thing to look forward to is the fact that for the bulls, from the bullish perspective, the bulls are still in control on the daily chart. Why? Well, because simply put, the RSI, though there is something bad about it, the good news is the fact that it's above its moving average, which is good. You can see the kind of yellow line on the RSI. That's good. Stochastic is still well into the bullish territory of the stochastic. MACD is still well crossed over to the bullish side. We're still above the, for instance, even the 8 exponential moving average, the market bias. Like, we're still in this upward channel. Like, you have all these news that signal to me the fact that, yeah, the daily is still overall, right, zoomed out. Yeah, it's still bullish. The bulls are still in control no matter, even if we get a dip, the bulls are still in control. But like I said, there is a small but here, if you will, on the daily chart. What is that? Well, the RSI went out of overbought territory. Now, again, the thing with the RSI that most people look at, and I used to do this as well incorrectly, and again, nothing is perfect. It's not to say what I'm about to say is perfection and it's always like this. No, not at all. But usually the way these things work with the RSI is whenever things are in overbought or oversold territories, that's not if it's overbought, it doesn't mean it's bearish. If it's oversold, it doesn't mean it's bullish necessarily, right? You are technically getting a discount on the flip side, technically speaking. But the way a better way to look at it, honestly, when it comes to RSI is, while it stays in overbought, it's bullish. It's almost similar to the stochastic in a sense. But on the flip side, when it stays oversold, it's bullish until it exits one of those categories. For instance, let's take a look back over here. Remember back over here when we had that rally post election, right? Tesla overbought all the way over here, and then it exited overbought territory back on this red candle right here. This second red candle roughly is where the second/third red candle. This is where it kind of exited overbought territory, and that pretty much gave us even further signs the fact that the momentum is most likely stalled, at least for now. And we spent about 2.5-3 weeks just doing nothing, and then of course it went back into being overbought over here on the RSI, right? Pretty much right on this candle right over here, pretty much as it broke out, actually, believe it or not, almost the candle after it broke out, right, is when it went back into overbought RSI, and it didn't get back under overbought RSI until pretty much this candle right here, actually, the candle right after, right? This candle that closed all the way up here, you can see that's when it exited overbought territories, and once again, pretty much did nothing for like a month or something like that, right? So this is just, an important fact to kind of understand. And the reason I bring it up is because we did just exit it, right? We arguably today have exited overbought territories, where you can see these 3 candles up here, we were overbought, right? We stayed in overbought territories. But today, even on this, technically a green/white candle, obviously we're still down 2.25%. RSI did actually exit overbought territories, which to me tells me the fact that even though the bullish momentum, in my opinion, just evidently so based on all the other factors I've mentioned, is still bullish, it does kind of mean that there is a chance based on this that it may slow down, though. It may not just be straight back up right away tomorrow, back to 270 tomorrow. No. To me, what this tells me is the fact that there is a good chance that we do something similar to what we did over here, where we kind of went sideways for like a week, roughly, give or take. And there's a chance that we do something like this where we just kind of, maybe fizzle slowly down. Not necessarily, this doesn't mean we're crashing down or anything, not by any means at all. But, we could just kind of fizzle, go sideways, maybe slowly down, maybe slowly up, but ultimately do kind of nothing, honestly, between, let's say, 325 to as high as 350. This sort of 25-ish dollar range, worst case scenario, all the way down to 310. But even that's, I think, a bit of a stretch right now. But that's like worst case scenario. So even if it happens, I still think bulls are in control. But just, figured I'd mention that, right? Just, watch for that moving forward, right? That's, in my opinion, important to note that, there is a chance that some of that very aggressive bullish momentum is probably going to be stalled out maybe a little bit longer before we really get that next leg up or potentially down even, right? So this is where we want to zoom into the chart and figure out, okay, fine, but, where can we go, right? Well, this is where we go, let's say, to the 1 hour chart. What is the 1 hour chart telling us? Well, the 1 hour chart, if I zoom out like this, you can see, is showing some loss of bullish momentum, right? We talked yesterday or Friday, there was a bit of a bearish divergence, right? Where we essentially made fresh highs in terms of closures, candle closures on the 1 hour chart. But what did the RSI do? It made a bearish divergence where, even though we very obviously, at least in my opinion, made a higher high on the candle closures, you can see here on this final candle on Friday, RSI very obviously made a lower high, right? So that's a bearish divergence. And obviously we had that fall this morning, obviously got bought up at least a damn good portion of it, especially across the market. But nonetheless, that to me shows a little bit of weakness, especially with the MACD, same thing. It had a bearish divergence, and the stochastic also lost its bullish momentum, right? And of course, we lost the market bias. So, we lost, even on the 1 hour chart, we are losing that shorter term bullish momentum, right? Which to me tells me the fact that sellers are now short term in control for Tesla for now until proven otherwise. Now, what proves this otherwise, right? What will swing this back even short term, which will then of course translate to the daily into bullish momentum for the bulls? Or on the flip side, what can, increase the potential bearish momentum that's potentially setting in short term to potentially make our way back down to, let's say, the 330-ish region, right? Well, a couple of things. Number one, in terms of amplifying this potential short-term bearish momentum, it's really just going to be losing and closing a candle pretty much, again, below 336-ish, right? You can see we did go obviously well below that, but we didn't close a 1 hour candle below that, or even a 15-minute candle, right? Neither of those, right? Kind of like what we did back here. We couldn't close those candles below. So that's number one. It has to close at least a 15 or 1 hour candle below about 336, because then this will break this kind of support zone as opposed to up here, right? So that's number one. That's step number one, right? In terms of increasing bearish momentum. But step number two is essentially, for the bears at least, not to have these current indicators like the market bias, the MACD, the RSI, arguably, you can see it's now below the moving average, right? We have the stochastic, not having them go back into bullish territory. For instance, the MACD crossing bullish. Bears want to avoid that on the 1 hour chart as long as possible, reclaiming the market bias. Getting this RSI, for instance, back above the moving average, stochastic back in the green, these factors, right? The bears want to avoid these factors, while the bulls, what do they want to do? The exact opposite. They want to get back into those territories. They want the MACD to cross back to bullish. They want the stochastic back above the moving average. They want the stochastic back up into the green area of the zone, right? Which essentially is stochastic above 60 roughly, right? And they definitely want the market bias reclaimed. And the last thing, and honestly, everything else aside, probably the most important thing is, well, just 350, right? 350 is that level to break for sure. That is the most important one though. Like, you can technically remove every single indicator if you want. And really all that matters right now is about 350, 352, that $2 range, and about, we'll say 335 to 337, that $2 range, right? That's pretty much all that matters at the end of the day though. Ultimately, honestly, if you were to remove every indicator, that's all this matters. One of these two will snap eventually. For now, expect some sideways action, some potentially boring price action. You buy 336, you sell 350. You short 350, you buy 336, roughly. Pretty much that, right? Exactly what we did down here. If I go down here, pretty much what we did here. We're pretty much where we were. We're back to where we were right here, at least for now, until something snaps, right? Essentially the exact same situation that we were here. Pretty much the same scenario. So let's see how this plays out, right? Let's see how this plays out, guys. Let's see what actually comes to fruition over here. But again, at the end of the day, to make it as simple as possible, as little noise as possible, $2 range down here, 335, 337, about $2 range up here, 350-ish, 352-ish. Close candles above or below, we most likely make our way higher. Below, of course, I have the first target around 325, roughly, of course, give or take naturally, right? Not 325.00, give or take. It could be 327, could be 323, could be 328. I don't know, but around 325, give or take about $5 in my opinion. Or, like I said, if things get really bad, all the way down here closer to 310, which all line up with the dailies bottom trend line of the rising channel as well. So that's what I'll be looking for personally moving forward on Tesla stock. Pretty simple stuff. Again, one of these will snap. One of them will. We don't know which one. Nobody knows which one, but one of them will. But regardless, even if the 1 hour continues looking bearish and continues snapping down lower, and we continue, let's say, going back to 325, it's still bullish as of right now. Obviously, if things change, I'll let you know from my perspective at least. But as of right now, the daily looks still pretty good. Now, the last thing I want to mention quickly is people have been talking about these sort of weird candles, if you will, across the board today on SPY, for instance, on like the 5 minute. I don't know if the 1 minute. Yeah, the 1 minute didn't really show that. More like the 5 minutes, like the shorter time frames. They're showing these very long candles, very weird candles, right? I don't personally know exactly what they are. I know from experience, I know a lot of people look at these as like phantom prints essentially, right? Where it's almost like telling us the fact that the price now has a target to go to down to these levels. So in Tesla's case, it'll be 333 to 335 roughly, right? In SPY's case, all the way, pretty much the lows of the day, actually, more or less, right? People sometimes look at them as like phantom prints. I don't know. I'll be honest. I don't want to give you a good, I don't want to say it's this for sure or that's for sure. I'm honestly not entirely sure. But just figured I'd quickly bring that up because I know a lot of people I saw were, kind of questioning about that. What the hell is this? That's my current guess. But again, it's a guess. All it is a guess. So let's see how that plays out. But yeah, that's all I got for you today. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please don't forget to hit that like button. By the way, the weekly market bias has back to being flipped to the green side, which is good. Which is why, like I said, if we see any selling pressure back down into the market bias, which also lines up with the weekly and the 8 exponential moving average on the weekly, which again, 325 down to like 310. That to me right now, 325 to 310 is the sweet spot for now. Obviously things can change, but for now, to maintain this bullish momentum that the daily is still in, which also lines up with the weekly, 325-ish to about 310-ish if you're lucky, is that sweet spot for now. That is a sweet spot. Things can go pretty damn good from there, and I think Tesla at the very least come down here and make it equal highs, if not break these 350 highs and make its way up to closer to the fair value gap, all the way up here, sitting somewhere around the 380s. That's my current projection. But let's see how it plays out. Let's see what happens moving forward. But yeah, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you tomorrow. Actually, wait, options flow. Options flow has been pretty mixed. Honestly, it's pretty mixed throughout the day. Honestly, I don't see one very obvious direction over the other. There's a bunch of bulls and bearish prints, calls and puts coming in for this week, actually. I don't see something that really stands out to me one way or the other. It just feels like a lot of people have no idea what the hell is actually happening. At least that's what it seems like. So let's see. So I'm going to use the TA and the levels, for what it is, I guess you can say. But anyways, thanks for watching. See you tomorrow. Peace.